Good morning, Uganda. Still with us. It's time for us to take you through our first session of the GMU agenda. Now, this particular discussion is still on gender-based violence, but here's the thing. We're now looking at the sports world. I have two sportswomen with me and a probable sportsman in the studios. Of course, we're looking at Rita Aliguma there, who is a friend and colleague who, of course, has achieved a whole lot in the sports world, a world that was commonly known for the men. Next to her is Chirabo Robert Nonyintono, who plays badminton. And of course, looking at gender-based violence, we're trying to balance, though not so well. And right next to me, often called a couple of names, but mostly called as the super woman. She is a strong woman, as mostly spoken of out there. She's gotten into the business of rally, if you can say, car racing. And oftentimes, most people were shocked the first time. Susan Muwonge. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Indeed. Now, she is definitely going to tell us her story. And we're going to look gender-based violence. But real quick, let me first throw this at you. What got you to this field?
Thank you so much. What got me there? One, the love for speed. Little did I know that I was always first on the streets, not until my husband complained. So because he loved motorsport, he used to go as a spectator. That is where I picked interest from. One, he's concerned about my speed on the streets. Then the fact that he is interested in motorsport. The two.
Wow, no wonder she's actually called the Queen of Speed.
Queen of
the
Speed,
Super Lady.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's
She's
very
called
interesting.
the Queen of Speed.
The consistency as well has been talked about over the time, how consistent she is, apart, I think, from 2013?
2011.
2011, where everyone was beginning to think and bring in the aspect of, is she okay? You know, this is because you know, being a woman and...
Actually, you are right. The first time we hit into that car, like so many spectators were asking themselves whether this lady is free of alcohol or marijuana and all that. Is she okay? Yeah, that was the talk.
And actually, that is what most people talk about rally drivers. Most people who actually get into those vehicles, probably some people think they are not really sober enough.
Well, for the gents, it's very okay. But to a lady, they get so surprised that they will have comments that will surprise you.
I mean, there are some sports, I'm sorry to say, but as a man, because when the first time she defeated men, I asked myself,
in 2011, yeah.
2011, I asked my friends whether men drunk. But I find out that anyway, really, the ladies are taking another toll in this thing. But are there a male sport and are there female sport that now we're just seeing the ladies are taking part of what is ours?
I think we are breaking the odd. When you look at rugby, yeah, literally did we know that ladies would join rugby? When you look at woodball, Zawede is doing a good job there. Which other sport that is too challenging?
Ladies are in basketball.
Yeah, boxing.
Yes.
Polot is doing a great job.
Then weightlifting.
Very interesting. So when you started out, because I'm going to also come to you, Rita, I mean, when you started out, how did it go for you?
Well, at first, it was a warm welcome from the gents, especially the drivers, because they knew I wouldn't get there. I remember one comment from my friend Rose Raktaka. She told me, you are competing with my husband, but now it is okay. Time will come when we are not friends anymore because I'm seeing it. I said, why? Because they were too supportive during that time. Then when it came to 2010, that is when I started realizing she had started turning. Even the husband wasn't supportive anymore because I had put up a challenge. So after some time, when I joined, you could see men coming to show me, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to handle the car in this way, when you are taking a corner, you're supposed to do ABCD. But time came when you used to contact men and everybody would part ways.
Oh my goodness.
Because they feel
That was
threatened,
2007?
as you think.
Literally 2010 was started becoming a threat.
Because it was a shame to the men.
But of course, when a woman challenges you
sport,
in a kind of world or society we're in, it definitely is some sort of intimidation, and then it turns into some sort of fight back. But Rita, you're not far from the sport field yourself. You've done some great stuff. If I gave out what you do, really, then I don't know if I'll do you justice, but take us through as well, knowing that you've been in this as well, looking at a broader picture of sport. You're involved even now.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
That's where my passion is. Yeah.
So tell us about what this feels like. Are we seeing some sort of gender lassity when it comes to the sports world?
Well, actually, I think I would just give, as always, I always back up my statements with examples. When I ran the USPA presidency, actually was the first lady in the last 48 years, actually, since the association was born. Well, I did not actually come out with my head down. I came out with my head high. But of course, it actually became a topic global, I mean everywhere, at AIPS, International Sports Press Association, and International Sports Press Association Africa, where they actually started talking about gender balance in the sports fraternity. So, well, if you look at, for example, if you look at the competition that I was involved in, I got reactions from different people. Well, I was second. We were 3 in the competition. I came second. But you would actually get these reactions from different people. There are those people who still believe that a woman cannot lead me. That why the association, why should the association be led by a woman? For the last 48 years, we have been men. Why a woman? And of course, when it comes to religion, especially Muslim brothers, you would actually hear them say that, nz'omukazi tanfuga, or and I learned, okay, I wish people could understand that there are very many things that women can actually bring on table, even more than men. It has actually become an agenda with the AIPS President Africa, Michel Obi, that even wherever he goes now, he talks about gender balance. I think it is important because he has actually realized that the women who are on his team are even working much more better. But to the sports fraternity, I think it is high time they changed their mentality, especially towards women, that indeed women can actually do great things, that women are making records in this country. We have the super lady Susan Muwonge, we have Patricia Polot, we have Shomim Banj, we have a netball team that is actually making great things, Not only that, if you go to the top women in the country, the Speaker of Parliament, the ED Kampala City, a number of them, they are actually doing great things compared to men. And I think mindset of people, especially in the sports world, it has to change.
Indeed.
I love the fact that women are coming up to shine. They're coming out to shine. Of course, we can't get there in a day, being that by nature of our history and
Very
our
patriarchal society.
But at least we're on the right track. All we need is more sensitization. Because I'll give an example. Some of these things that we're talking about today, they just, even the moment a child is born, these are things that you get into us. Then as society also, because when you're born, they'll shout Azade Sukali and they're excited, this is a girl. Then when a boy is born, Azade Musika, So even when you're growing, when we're young, the girls will kneel up to a certain level, and for you, the boy,
the guys you just
but you're very young, Your sisters are older than you. For them, they have to kneel, and for you, you're trying, hey, Bob, meaning you stand up. These are girls, let them kneel. So when we go to school, I remember the first time we had a girls versus boys in school, our hands had to be tied at the back, and we were playing soccer. Or they'll make the boys' team less by some numbers, So all these things, we grow up knowing that these were inferior, and we are superior. And therefore, even society has accepted this. So when I see women coming out at this particular time to change these customs, to show that we are better, like I told you the first time I had Susan, I was with friends, you know, and it was on news.
I said,
like, what? She's feather men? Everyone said, because they think, how on earth, you know, can a woman really behind the wheels, in terms of speeding, defeat the men? But when we have such people coming out, these good examples, slowly they will change the face of history.
And indeed, actually, it is something that goes on over time. Even when recently, when Susan Muwonge won the championship, actually, different people came out to say that probably it's because this person or just Mangat he withdrew from the race. Sebuguzi withdrew from the race. And damn, I'm telling these people, that is not the fact. She did her things well. Everything was just perfect. It was just perfect timing. It's not about these people dropping out. She was just meant to win.
To chip in, what I told most people, that if it was luck because of these two dropping out, then I don't think luck comes to those who are not organized.
True.
Look at that attribute also. We were organized as a team. Then when Rita was assessing the fact that religion also matters, I just remember in 2011, a comment from one of the FMU delegates, a Muslim, saying that there is no way a lady will take on the championship. One, that marginalization, that she cannot handle a pro-drive car, one, a factory-prepared car. Then two, how shall we sit on table with international drivers and we post that we have a lady champion? That will mean that there is no competition in Uganda. Then a comment like, we need to check her. Probably she's not a lady. There is something wrong. We need to such comments.
Like we've seen the South African runner, you know, things of that nature.
Yeah, but all this marginalization keeps me going. I get to know I'm somewhere and I've put up a challenge.
Okay. Now we've established that things like culture, religion are indeed setting pace for us, even at a younger stage. Before I get into something, briefly, earlier on when coming in, you had talked about having a primary school.
Yeah.
Are there things you see? You gave us an example of at a very young age.
Yeah,
young people, young boys and girls.
Yeah, I have a primary school, but this is what happens. We do counseling, but one will tell you, Mommy Susan, you know, this boy told me I can't outcompete him in mathematics. Boys are meant to perform better in mathematics than girls. So you keep counseling them. And out of that, you will see them win at the end of the day.
Interesting. Yeah. And you have a football club for girls and so?
Yeah, I once introduced, actually we have it, we introduced a football club for girls, but girls registered a less number. Why? Because boys were demotivating them. We shall beat you, you cannot run, you cannot do this. But up to now, the club is in place.
Very interesting there, and of course, I must say, real quick, we'll get into a break real quick, and then we'll be back and discuss this particular issue. Of course, some of the things we need to appreciate is that it's not about gender anymore. If you can do something, why not?
50% bonus on data.
You mean if I buy 1 GB of data daily using Airtel Money, I get 500 MBs free?
Yes! 50% bonus on data recharges of Airtel Money.
Switch to Airtel Money to buy a data bundle and get 50% bonus back instantly.
Yes, 50% bonus back, valid till midnight of the validity period.
Dial *185*2# to get started. Airtel Money, simple, instant, secure. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Unlocking Marital Bliss. This is one of a kind, and I'm glad that you've tuned in.
There are several reasons that's why people should get married. First, to get an address, like Erinya. Secondly, some have gotten married to rich guys. Okay. 2 years down the road, everything vanishes.
Of course, the hassles in the marriage, but yeah, I want to try it.
It's not about you. It's about what God wants for the marriage. That's why we get married.
What is wrong with him correcting the child?
It is not bad for a woman to work. It is not bad at all. But it depends how does the woman behave.
Living with a working woman, it is a blessing. And a real man is never intimidated by a strong woman and a working woman.
I assure you that your marriages will never remain the same.
Good morning. Uganda is still with us, and we're looking at gender-based violence. It does come in many forms. Many people may wonder. It is very psychological, it is physical, it is sexual, in so many ways that even online, offline, you know, people go on the internet every day. The number of things that are said, for example, us journalists, the type of things we write, if you get to compare men and women, how a journalist will write about a woman could most likely be different how they'll write about a man.
I know, yeah.
Most times, if you look at the first 3 pages of a newspaper, they consist of most of the stories on men.
Yeah, that is very true.
It's mostly political, it's mostly that. And when the women come in, it's about a scandal or something. And we've seen this, really. Maybe now times are changing. But that will bring me to one thing. We've seen male hairdressers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Chefs.
They do it better.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Do you know why they're doing it better? Because we think the society of women saying, oh wow, we are supporting the men. I personally, my hairdresser is a man. Most of them, you know. Now, do we see the same thing? If we're talking gender balance, that our communities, our very own selves, helping each other get better at what we're doing. If the men seeing Susan Muwonge coming in and saying, well, let's support her. She's pretty much the only woman, or a few of the women who have put themselves out there. Just like the women are saying, I think the man understands what I'm talking about.
Well, exactly, probably to chip in what you're talking about. But it also starts with us women. In most cases, when you see a woman rising up, as a woman, have you tried your level best to support your fellow woman?
That is true.
In this country, or probably maybe across, it has been a very big problem. In most cases, once a fellow woman sees another woman going upper or climbing the ladders, it actually becomes a very big problem to also the fellow women. Instead of helping this woman to go up and probably come back for you, it's a big problem. It's trouble.
Another experience maybe. I have a nursery school, and I have a staff of 12 ladies. Recently, when we held a concert, and like some of the parents who came were like, but director, you need at least to involve a gent on this stuff. You have only ladies. I said, what's the problem with ladies? They are good at it. That is why you are coming, you are supporting the school and all that. But they are looking at the staff of 12 ladies as if they are not capable enough to handle. Yeah, but they are mothers and they are doing it well.
Wow.
But the fact that a parent comments, you need at least a gent to support this stuff. Why? The proprietor is a lady and they are ladies, and I'm supporting them.
I also feel that as women in this country, they have also become complacent. And there's a level where I think maybe because all begins from childhood, they also want to feel inferior. You know,
we're trained to feel inferior.
I think you're trained. Well,
Get back to culture.
Get back to culture. You know that even when you open up space for you, sometimes you see the ladies themselves, you know, take a back seat. And this at sometimes makes people feel, let's take an example of the disability fraternity in this country. You know, they're there and they know you have to prove something. Any gap you give them, they'll take it over. When it comes to sometimes the women, they shun.
No, but you see, when you get away from the norm, you know, what we know as the ordinary, what culture has taught us and things like that. Yeah, most women are given names and titles. You've heard of Iron Lady. So how come a man who is strong and powerful is not going to be called an Iron Man? You know, she's called Super Lady because under the norms, under what we believe, no, there's no way.
I know,
She's extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
You get what I'm saying? And we're not saying she isn't. There are also men who are extraordinary. But when we tag names on women, and this is what I'm telling you, you find Rita, you find me, so many other women, that if you're vocal, if you're outspoken, if you're pushing for something, I know.
You know? I know.
The people they call, that is not a woman. There's a way they say it in Uganda.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It even goes sometimes back to family. I want to say the husband of that lady.
Exactly, that's where I wanted to come. You know, my husband has listened to such comments. How do you handle such a woman? Doesn't she beat you? Doesn't she do this? But when you look at Susan, she's the same Susan the husband got from the parents' home. There are times when we post good times, and you will hear these people argue out, it can't be. They've cheated for her. I hate that. It happened in Imbali recently. We posted very good times. And like our immediate competitor was like, no, Edmond, you've cheated. But why?
Very interesting.
Can you imagine? Yeah, by that happens a lot. I also remember the first time I was chosen or nominated as the best young reporter in 2011 to go and represent Uganda in China during the University Games. I had different comments, all different comments from this world. I almost quit journalism, by the way, because comments would come from this side. I think this person has been nominated or voted because she's probably sleeping around with these men because of her beauty, because of this and this and that. And yet, indeed, it was just because of my hard work. I was very aggressive. I was a very aggressive reporter. And you know, any person at that time could actually see the dedication, the commitment that I was putting into the sport. And you know, that time, it got me crazy. And I'm like, okay, these people cannot just appreciate what a woman can actually do, can put on table. And I think very many girls out there are going through the same. Once you win something, they have cheated for you. Once you get a trip, someone has actually, I mean, you're going there because of this and this and that.
Someone has booked you for company.
Exactly.
And used that as an offer.
Exactly, and yet, really, in most cases, it is just hard work for this particular young girl. And I think
and it's sad that we're doing this to our very own selves. One would ask, what are the men doing to help the women? But also, what are the women doing? You find a fellow woman saying, not possible. You know?
Yeah, true.
And also the men, you find, like I mentioned, hairdressers, chefs. Men are going to address their fellow men as not straight. Why is he doing hair? He's not straight. Why is he doing this? He's not straight. He's probably, the woman is the boss in the home.
I know.
So we're doing these things to ourselves. Really. But let's go back, the challenges we faced. I know you faced challenges as well. Maybe if you could share something that really came down to gender, which is gender-based, whether it's in the form of violence or discrimination, things of that nature.
One of the most hurting things, because society has set it, is being defeated by a woman. As a man, being defeated by a woman, even if it is in sport. Like I told you the first time I watched news and she had won. I just thought of how these men are going to feel in society, knowing that Susan defeated them. How am I going to enter this bar? You know, so that defeat.
So they're also defending themselves.
So that defeat. No, we must. This is what we've come to, and this is actually this is the reality.
Yeah.
Though I'm glad that slowly by slowly we are beginning to change this. So defeat of a woman is very dangerous to a man. It's psychological, you know, and even if you're married, even your wife can insult you. But away from that, the defeat and the perception of society that a man always has to be on top. Any defeat by a woman, you're either not man enough.
You're going to natural defense
so shall
mode.
keep on struggling to keep you behind. You know, because unless with a lot of sensitization, I understand what the men would feel if I'm going to rally. And Susan, see, I must make sure either a fellow man defeats me. I don't know if in motorsport there is even syndicate, or we find a way to fail her, but at least a man wins. You know? So that is one of the things that we still have to tackle, us as men and as society. And when we find also men doing things that ladies have to do, it's just of late that a man who when I was in school, you know, there was at some level we had this channel, oh, and you're very clean, and people would look at you and then they'll say, he also has a problem. I think he's either gay or, you know, you apply a lot of makeup, beard, and these all are torture in one way or the other, you know. So in school, men, you have to learn as you're growing, secondly.
Some men think being shabby is being a man,
as
being unkempt, so, you know.
You can imagine.
So some of these things also, much as the women are making their way through, the men also have a side that we must address it, not one-sided. For the men to accept that, yes, the women have to shine, which is okay, but also must accept that if they shine, it's not a problem. Society has to perceive that, yes, it was fair play, and you're just not as good as she was. I remember one time, I'm a biker, and we enjoy going long distances and racing, you know. But we have some girls that even when you're going somewhere, she comes on her motorbike, you feel insecure.
Oh my
I love
goodness.
the sorts of words.
You feel insecure. Also, like, now, even sometimes if our bike gets a problem, like, to Muwonge, because when she gets there before you, there's a you're seen as belittled, as trash. At the end of the day, these people, some are extraordinary, all they have invested. Me, one time, one of the things I've learned over time is that when women decide to do something,
yes,
they give in their all. You know?
True. That is very true.
Whereas the male mind has a lot of things it's bringing.
Because we're in a patriarchal
women focus,
society, really.
And I've come to accept that they invested more than I invest when they defeat me. You know, I either have to work more to defeat them, or they keep on defeating me.
Interesting.
Well, actually, a good example. A good example he mentioned actually off air, that even when he leaves maybe savings with the wife, it is very easy for the wife to keep that money, and yet the man cannot actually do that, you know. But in as much as, yes, we talk about sensitization, I think Chidabo sensitization also begins with you, our man here, you know. I think it is important for people out there to understand indeed that, I mean, when it comes to work and all that, both men and women, let us get onto the level ground. Let us not discriminate. Let us empower our women. Let's encourage them. Let's push them more instead of actually putting them behind all the time.
And it is very sad.
Yeah, and I still wonder why men are changing of late. Have you realized that you will find at least a boy or a youth having an earring, then the hairstyle, meaning there is a lot they admire from ladies.
Women.
I remember there is a champion, I don't remember which year this person took the championship, but at least it took 5 years this person to win a championship in Uganda. Yet he came from far with this mentality that there is no competition in Uganda. Why? A lady took it all in 2011. So let me switch from my country where I have failed and go to Uganda. where there is less competition. But it took that person 5 years to become a champion. I've seen my girl, one of my girls is in secondary, and she's a good footballer. When she was at Trinity College, she was the captain. When she switched to another school, mixed school, then it was hard for her to introduce this sport, to convince the boys that I'm a captain from my former school.
Imagine.
Not until she showed them skills, that is when they believed in her. I've seen girls at my primary school try to join the basketball team, but they are stopped by the boys, especially during training, until the sports head will come up to say that girls are supposed to involve themselves in this sport.
So there's intimidation as well.
And then when you go to classroom, I told you of mathematics. It was hard to convince some of the girls that you are good at this subject because of the comments they get from their peers.
Very interesting. But also, what we're looking at here is...
You know, you wouldn't actually even expect that from primary school.
Exactly.
You would expect,
but again, when we were growing up, boys used to be the bullies because they thought, oh, if I say something... And many girls, by the way, used to get inferior, to feel inferior, because then the boy would laugh about this or laugh about that or laugh about, you know, so many things that even in the schools, our teachers should be guiding the students.
Counseling.
Parents should be guiding.
As well. It actually starts with the parents.
It starts with the parents, because then you'd show your children that, hey, you're all entitled to something. Only fail because of certain capabilities, or, you know, not because of if you can walk or not because if you're a man or a woman, you know. So sometimes, well, for me, growing up, I had a mother who always said, nothing can fail you as long as you want it, you know. And she'd always say, no, if you have a problem, don't please, just come and tell me. Now, many parents, even as much as we're talking boys and girls, if a parent walked to their child and tell them what happened in school, they'll shush them. Tell them, no, never say something like that. You know, children have grown seeing their mothers not being able to communicate with their fathers. And these are married people. You know, when a child comes to try and say something, then you're told to shut up and go back at the back.
I know.
So this is how we are training our children sometimes.
Yeah,
so as much as we may try to say, what are men doing, what are women doing? But at a broader level, as the adults in the communities, what are we doing? Let's look into the solutions real quick. What could be a probable solution? It may take time, but what can help us solve some of these issues?
Well, I think it actually, like you have actually said, it begins with the parent at home. If a child grows with a different mindset, because we all grow with our brothers and sisters all together as a family. But if it begins from home, a mother or a father tells this one that, you know, if your sister says this, or something happens to this and that, you know, it depends on how the situation is. Because I remember way back, you know, as a sister, or they would actually tell your brother, even when he's younger than you, oh, you cannot do this to your sister because she's weak, she's this and that, and, you know, they would actually give that such examples. But I think our parents have what it takes to change the mindset of the children from the grassroots, from the time they are born, from the time they actually start getting to understand that, okay, now, this is a man, this is a woman. And we should actually not let such differences actually conquer our minds, you know. It starts with the parents. Chirabo has also talked about sensitization. Let us sensitize the public about some of these issues. Gender balance. Let us tell the men out there, let us inform the public that actually women can even do better. It is important for us to come out and support the women to venture in different areas and probably exactly. In that way, trust me, many women will actually come up. They had introduced the quota system. Actually, the quota system is working in some other countries. But me, sometimes I don't buy into the quota system. It is important to allow these women to come out. Someone should not just be appointed because someone is just a woman, but someone should be appointed into a position because they can actually perform, because they can do something. I think that is the way to go. But the most important thing is sensitizing the public.
One, we should open all avenues for the women to shine freely. You know, as long as, she said about the quota system, but I love to see a country where in sport, there's no discrimination, and it's a leveled ground, so it's abilities that limit us. Then also, I look at the family, like she said. Unfortunately, of late, families are not doing so much, you know, because of work and all that. But when we open up spaces, then things are going to come automatically. Because if you look at 30 years as a country where women were and where they are now, you know, we've seen Susan's, because motorsport, now it's open, a woman can participate. Maybe there was a time where a lady would not even be allowed. So if you keep on opening these spaces, you're going to have these role models, and they'll inspire others. I know Susan inspires so many young girls.
Oh, yeah.
Because she made it. So the more we open up spaces and more women come, then it will just, things will work automatically. But also, we must understand that as we push for the women, we must push for the men as well. To help them understand that defeat happens and is normal when a woman defeats you. I've seen men even in politics, where I am at local councils, you know, they even kind of want to make a caucus or something. Let's fight this lady, she can't get there.
I know.
Because, because we feel it's almost criminal. You know, it's demeaning to be defeated by a lady. So if you can be sensitized enough and
well, actually, to add something on Chera was where I'm sorry to come up. Sorry, coming back. Even I think in some other countries, the governments or federations, associations have invested so much, for example, in women's sport. You know, at this point, if you look at the International Olympic Committee, maybe even FIFA, these international federations actually, even FIFA itself, even UOC here today, they are trying as much as possible to involve women or to invest in women's sport. I think that is actually the mentality. Even the government should buy into. We have actually just seen the netball team that is making wonders. Exactly. Look at Susan Muwonge. I mean, why wouldn't the government actually chip in to support such a person who is making, who is breaking records in this country? And probably, you know, if she has government backing, trust me, there is another woman who will be attracted to the sport. If there is government support towards women in sport, there will be a lot. We have just seen Miss Uganda, who has actually put our flag way above. How about that? Isn't that actually helping the country? Isn't that promoting the country without even involving or putting in any coin? I think the government also should think about how to support these women.
That has brought me to something. Someone was saying yesterday, and you've heard these things, beauty, no brains. Do you know, when you say beauty with brains, no, something, do you know? There's a way women attacked. We had a member of parliament who came out and said she's being harassed online. Do you know what the public said? Exactly. If it were a man who came out, people would have said, how mkaza alikiwa mstaja?
But even, which man would come out? In our society, even if I'm beaten at home.
But you know that men will come out and say,
so which man would come out?
You've not seen it. And then people are judging. But now, when a woman comes out to speak, yes, Waza. You get what I'm saying? Why is she exposing herself out there? What is wrong with a young man being attracted to a woman? What, you know, all sorts of defenses. And this is online harassment. And so many young people out there having this harassment. And then someone will come and say,
but recently there is a gentleman who came up to be open. He opened up on the media that it took him some time
to
open up. Why? At the back of his mind, the comments from the rest of the family and maybe the friends. This is a man who was always beaten because of failure to leave something on table. Then one time he was hit by a stone from the wife because of money. So it was too much until he left, and they were showing that he accommodates in a one room, and the kids were taken to the mom. So it happens. But solution to this, we need support, like the rest of the teammates have said. We need support, but we cannot have that support if we fail to believe in ourselves. It comes back to us. Believe that you can do something, then the rest will come on board. I took it from the word go, that I believe in myself, I can do wonders. I call other comments as distractors, you know, because we are emotional tamers. Somebody will just come up with a comment just to distract you. But if you forego these distractors, then you try out your luck. I tell my girls when we are counseling at school that first try before you say you cannot. Do the weaving yourself. If you do it and maybe there are mistakes along the way, then you will perfect. Believe that what a boy can do in class, I can also handle. If it is coming out for a discussion, you can also perfectly do it in class, and everybody will take you to be serious. If we are having maybe a sports day and we bring bicycles, they are not meant for boys. Girls come out and try out because you are defending, you are fighting for your house. So do not leave each and everything to the boys. If it is netball, let also boys come on board. Team up and make sure that you defend your house. So if you have that self-belief, then I think everything can be done.
Enough the way Susan has put it, because I think also for a long time women have enjoyed this sympathy and comfort, you know. We can't make it. We need an extreme favor. We need an extra point to enter university. We need so that coming out.
And I keep telling people, I want to get somewhere because I deserve it, not because, oh, she's a woman, she won't handle this, let her be, you know.
When tells you, don't forget I'm a lady. Don't forget I'm a woman. You expect something.
I think what we should teach is also respect. You know, both sexes should be able to respect the other.
Yeah, that is important.
The women should respect that this is a person. Let's not go into sexes. I should respect you as a person. You should respect me as a person. It's not about, oh, I'm a woman. Maybe think about the fact that I won't climb this tractor. I know. And we're seeing women break through really to prove that, no, we don't need... It's not about sympathies.
Yeah, we've actually seen
women in
female conductors in taxis. We've seen
the orders change.
Yes, we've seen women who are actually driving fusos today or buses. But anyway, away from that, my concern sometimes, of course, there are those moments when I think about the ladies who are actually making it into, you know, especially the sports fraternity. And you know, I keep on wondering, Susan, how have you, what has kept you really moving? Haven't you at any one point thought of maybe giving up because of, you know, different words coming from different people and all that, the comments coming from different people? I know there are those moments where you can actually think, you know, let me throw in a towel.
Yeah, but I've never thought of it. One, I have a strong team. That strong team helps me to have a strong heart. I have to stay composed in whatever I do. I do not want distractors, and whenever they come on board, I have to stay composed. I have to make it a point that we are consistent. When you look at this season, all the 7 events, we try to be consistent until the end. Why? Because we are organized. There is no luck that comes just like that. You have to work for it. We had to sacrifice a lot, but all in all, I stay composed in whatever I do.
Oh, learning something from you. Yeah.
We have about a few minutes, so last remarks in a few seconds, each of you. That way we can, this is a topic we can't really extensively exhaust.
Yeah, well, I'm excited that we had our super lady, Susan Muwonge. I'm really very excited that we had a sports lady in the studio with us this morning. Well, the ladies out there, you just have to up your game. You can actually make it if you deeply believe in yourselves. It is important to believe in yourselves. And trust me, you will make records out there. So in as much as, don't let any person put you down, but always move with your head high, knowing where that you can actually make it. You can actually achieve your dreams.
Okay.
Keep it up. Just go on with the spirit. Nothing is impossible.
Me, I'll just advise parents, arch-parents, that the ladies can equally deliver as men do. Let's ensure that these norms, cultures of demeaning women or showing that they're less performers, re-end them. Because their period was there when women were just born to be wives. But we've overgone that and we've passed it long time. So in this modern era, train that daughter of yours to be a daughter that is going to conquer everything, that she has equal abilities. Let's erode this culture of getting our children and putting cultures in them, the girl child, that keep them down. If we do it better as parents, if we do it better as a woman to a fellow woman and as a man or a father to this daughter, then this will be history.
Yeah, I'll side with Chavo. To the parents, have a warm relationship with your girls. We have to mention girls because we tend to distance ourselves from our children, but nobody is going to do the job for you. Any person who will come on board to help you counsel that child will do it in a most cruel way. So have that warm relationship with your girls, give them all the audience, open up. If you fail to open up to these children, somebody else will do it in a way you will not want. That is why when they are abused at home by our relatives, by our aunties, they will not come to us because we have not created that relationship between mother and daughter, mother and son. So in so doing, you are showing them the right path, that whatever you are doing, try, never fail to try until you get there. Believe in yourself and everything will be on board.
Wow. That reminds me of a saying that my grandmother used to say, try and fail, but don't fail to try. Now, of course, this issue of gender has always brought up bitterness from both sides, the battle of the sexes. But we must also appreciate certain things. We're not saying, as much as we're saying, let women have the space, you know, to do whatever they do, but they also have to be safe spaces. As much as we're saying the men are all strong and will, they must also have enough space to try things that are out of the norm. We need to come back and look at certain fragile and specific things. That's why some men will say, since you're saying empowerment, you will be empowered. Everyone forgets their core duties. People forget to be wives. People forget to be husbands. You know, they forget the heads of families because of such debate. We need to go back to a safe zone, both of us, you know, both sexes. Things like violence, insulting words, online and offline. We're talking as you pass the street and someone makes a funny comment or touches you or whatever it is. Even men. Some men are tortured because of things that some women say. He's not strong enough. So every man thinks they need to go to the gym and wear themselves down. But these are things we need to really look into at the end of the day. We're looking at gender-based violence in all forms. It starts from a very tender age. Most of us in our grown-up setups as communities, it's because it's what we learned as children. So we need to go back to the basics. And of course the campaign went on, and hopefully we don't stop talking about it. That's what we had for you there in a GMU agenda right next to us. I'm going to borrow the word and say superwoman, Susan Muwonge. Of course, she's as strong as all the other men, so are the men as strong as her. We're looking at Chirabo there, friend and colleague. Also Rita Aliguma. Do not go away.
Nasa.